Okay, now we're going to practice taking limits from a graph. Now, we have a bunch of limits to take, and they're going to have all different flavors to them. But we're going to reduce this process to basically 3 simple steps that we can think about. So let's address these 3 steps first. The first thing we're going to do is find this x spot. So where on the x-axis are we talking about with each limit? Then the second question is, how are we actually approaching this x? A limit is a value is approaching something. So is it approaching from the left or the right, or do both sides need to agree? And then the actual question of a limit is always asking for a y or f of x value. So what are the y's or f of x values doing as we approach this x value? So let's take a look at these, and we'll simply start with each one and do them in order. The limit as x approaches negative infinity. On the x-axis, label our axis, negative infinity, of course, is going this way forever. So can I actually find it? No, but it's off to the left. So that's where the x is. How are we approaching it? We're just heading towards it. What are the y values doing? Well, if we move along, we see the y values are staying on this line, and we imagine that's going to happen forever. The value appears to be -1. So the y values are -1 as we're approaching negative infinity. Now we have the question, x approaching positive infinity. Where on the x-axis is positive infinity? Forever to the right. So we're moving along this arrow. It's the last instruction we have, and it goes up forever. The values are increasing, 5, 10, 100, a zillion, whatever. Plus infinity is our answer. It's going up forever. X approaches -2. The negative sign after it means from values smaller than -2. Here is -2. So we're coming towards this point. We're coming through values smaller than -2. -3 would be smaller, so we're moving along this way. That means we are marching along this branch of the axis, which is getting closer and closer to this spot where apparently things go crazy, and we seem to be heading upwards forever. Upwards is positive infinity. -2 from the positive side. That means we're coming towards -2 from numbers in x that are bigger. So 3, -1 and down would be getting from bigger values approaching -2. That would be graphing points along this branch. Once again, plus infinity. The entire limit as we approach -2, the two sides have to agree. They both do, so the answer is plus infinity. Now these questions sometimes confuse people where nothing is happening. We look at the infinities and we do okay. X is approaching 0. X value of 0 is here. So on the x, coincidentally, y is also 0 there. As I approach 0 here, I would be graphing these dots here. As I approach 0 from the bigger side, I would be getting this values here. And both of them, in either case, are approaching 0. The y value is getting smaller and smaller. We can see little bitty y's towards 0. X approaches -1 from numbers smaller than -1. Here's -1. The smaller side is over here. So we would be graphing up here. We seem to be approaching y values from just under 4, 4, and so on down, with a limit here of 3. X approaches -1 from the positive side. Numbers is not positive, it's actually bigger than -1, so we're along here. We're graphing, getting closer and closer to -1, so the appropriate x's are up here from these positive, and we seem to be approaching here at 2. X approaches -1 overall. You can only have an answer when the positive and negative signs are the same. They are not. Empty set, there is no answer. X approaches 3 from the positive side. 1, 2, 3. There's 3. Okay, nothing funny happening here, but we don't want to get confused. Approaching it means we're moving along from these values slightly bigger back towards 3. And actually, it's going to be the value there. This thing is looking like it's going through 3, 2. So the limits either side are going to be the same. And we only asked for, actually we are asked for both of them. They're both going to be 2, and so will the overall limit. The function isn't doing anything odd. F of 3 is actually 2, and there's no breaks, no holes, no dots. Whereas over here, f of -1 would actually be 1. It wouldn't agree with either limit. X approaches 5. Well, if we approached 5 from the positive side, we would be marching along up here. Those are the corresponding x values on the function, and it's going to plus infinity. Approaching 5 from the negative side, we're coming down here to negative infinity. They don't agree. So we have no answer, and we say empty set. Hope that has helped with our understanding of limits.